on this week's episode, we give you guys our gift guide.
Yes, in this holiday special, we are giving you our gift guide for the blind person or the chronically ill person in your life.
So stick around.
Hello, and welcome to Rare with Flair,
The podcast where two best friends with the same rare disease are living our best lives. I'm your host, Cassandra.
and I'm your host, Casey. Cass?
Yeah.
Cass and I, directly before recording this episode, discovered something both terrifying and beautiful.
So, we're usually before we start recording, it's like, we generally do these on Tuesday nights. So like the week prior to the episode coming out, we usually call and shoot the breeze and talk about other random stuff before we actually start recording. And Casey mentioned, I was like, oh, how was your day? And she was telling me about some of the stuff that she did. And then she was like, yeah, for dinner, I made this spinach and chickpea recipe that I had told her about when I had been to Spain.
Uh-huh. And you had told me about this recipe months ago.
Yeah.
We hadn't
like
talked,
in June.
we had not really talked about it again.
Yeah. It's been
a
bit.
Cass pauses and said, I made the same thing for dinner tonight.
We didn't coordinate this at all.
We have not spoken about this recipe in months.
No, and it was so bizarre because I'm standing there in my kitchen next to the soaking I'm thinking, thank you. I'm thinking of the word in Spanish. Help me. The soaking pan, and I was just like, what? It felt like she was in my house. It was terrifying.
I kind of hate it, but it's also kind of amazing.
What are the actual odds?
Something we were on the same wavelength. We were channeling each other tonight without
100%
whatsoever.
And I think that's gonna carry into our episode. I don't want to transition us too soon, but
I sure hope so. You know, I really love our holiday specials, our Christmas specials that we've done every year, maybe.
I think we've done a version of them every year, at least.
We are so far into this pod, it's hard to even remember what the heck. This is our fourth Christmas season doing this podcast.
Wow.
Third year, but fourth Christmas.
Which is kind of what I was listening this morning to a playlist that I had made in the fall of 2020. And I was listening to those songs next to each other, and I was like, wow, I haven't heard this collection in a minute. Wow, that was so long ago, that was 3 years ago. Crazy. And then here we are, and I thought about the pod, and I was like, wow, and here we are still doing the pod, and it's so cool.
Here we are. I love it. It's a great time. I was telling my mom today I had a lot to do today and I was really tired, and I was like, yeah, and I'm recording the pod tonight, and she was like, oh, you're really tired though? And I was like, and I told her, I was like, the pod doesn't feel like work to me though. It doesn't, it doesn't tire me out. I have fun doing it. It's a chill experience. I told her, I was like, it really is just I'm talking to Cass.
Yeah.
And we hope that's what it feels like for you all listening, because for me, it really does feel like I'm just talking to you. And that doesn't tire me out. It gives me energy.
Oh, absolutely. I totally feel the same way. And it does sort of force us to talk in more real time, because usually the way that we talk is through voice memo. So we don't get as much real time chat until we do the pod. So
that's true.
Always love that moment for us too.
I know.
And we're glad that you can be part of it, listeners.
I know.
Is there anything else that you wanted to...
I really don't have much else. I mean, how was your Thanksgiving, I should ask?
Oh, that's right. We had Thanksgiving.
We had another major holiday.
Mine was super chill. I just kind of hung out with my parents, and we had a lot of sides that we got. We did a little Sidesgiving. We got a lot of sides from Trader Joe's that are frozen, and we heated them up, and they were fantastic.
I'm sure they were.
I also made an apple tart that I was really proud of, so.
And it looked incredible. It really did.
I'm proud.
I mean, not
I'm
that
proud.
anything you make doesn't look incredible.
Some things I make don't look incredible. I gotta be honest.
They do.
No.
They do. You're your own worst critic.
Fair. But how was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was also very chill with the parents, and it was, I have to watch my parade. I have to watch my dog show.
We had the Macy's parade on in the background, and I was like, oh, this makes me think of Case. I know how much she loves the Macy's parade.
It's the best hot mess, and I love I love how weird it is. I love that there's a person on a turkey float with like I don't know. Like, it's hilarious. I love it so much.
You sent me this reel that was like
it was so funny.
It was so unhinged. It was like, here's random celebrity here for no reason singing a song, an original song with major like band. It's just like, what? Why?
It's a lot of like C-list celebrities. So, it's great. It's great.
I love it though.
And I loved it as a little kid. So it's like a special tradition for me.
And you get to see the Bichons.
Yeah. Of course, the non-sporting group of the dog show.
Non-sporting.
Definitely my favorite group to watch. That's also the most random like mix of
the
dogs you've ever
non-sporting
seen
group.
in your life. Just all the leftovers in one group. It's a great group, the non-sporting.
The other breeds.
The other breeds that didn't fit anywhere else. So yeah, it was a good time. And also my birthday came and went.
Yes.
And that was good. And Cassandra sent me a birthday box with fun stuff in it. And she gave me a Squishmallow, and she is in my lap as we speak. I'm squeezing her and hugging her.
She's a little mushroom. I saw her when I was in Aldi mushroom. And I was like, I felt very compelled. I was like, I need to get this I got it in August and I kept it in my house.
I have an unhealthy attachment to this.
So like, you want to, I don't know, you want to balance like giving people like stuff and items and so that they don't have just a bunch of stuff that they didn't actually want. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the leap. I'm going to get this.
I'm so glad you did. She's a good size, so it doesn't feel like it's huge, like, but yeah, so all that being said,
I was so glad
I'm
you
so
had a good
excited.
Birthday, though.
Yeah, no, it was good, very low key, but in a good way.
But speaking of occasions,
we have never done a gift guide episode before.
I love gift guides. I gotta say, I do too. Getting ideas.
I actually use them. Like, I watch gift guides and actually get ideas from them.
Oh yeah. And there's so many like flavors of gift guides that you can possibly watch. So and obviously tastes are subjective. So everyone's gift guide is going to be a little bit different. And I don't know. I love that variety.
And ours is going to be very specific and different.
And yeah, I think some of the things are still universal that we're going to talk about. They're especially good for people who are like blind, low vision, chronically ill, but they could just be a good gift for
That's true.
Anybody.
That's true. Some of mine are so specific they wouldn't necessarily be a good gift for anybody.
Fair.
But some of them would be. And so this is mainly a blind girl gift guide or like a blind and low vision gift guide. But I have some on my list that are also like chronic illness gifts as well.
Yeah. I've got a couple also like non-physical gifts if you don't want to necessarily get someone a stuff.
I'm excited to hear that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. We're so excited and we have so many and I know that we're going to just like dynamically make more. So, okay, go. Start.
Go. Okay. The first one on my list is something I actually want. So, anyone listening, feel free. So, bone conduction headphones.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So these, if you don't know, I'm not going to probably explain it perfectly, but they're headphones and they kind of they don't go over your ears, okay? So if you can still listen to music and everything, but they don't cover your actual ear. They kind of sit on the bone, right in front of or outside of your ear. And the reason these are cool, and especially cool for the blind, is you can be walking around and listening to your music or your podcast, and you can still very much hear what's going on around you. It's not plugging up your ears. Now, Cass and I are huge fans of the AirPods. Mm-hmm. And the AirPods are great because they do have like such noise cancellation.
Yeah.
And I think at times you really want noise cancellation, like on an airplane, or like just you really need that sometimes if you're in a crowded space or whatever. But sometimes if you're walking in traffic, the bone conduction ones, I've always wanted a pair because I do think they are safer, probably for us blind people. So hey, if you're listening to this, if you're blind, these are things for you. But if you're not blind, these are ideas for your loved ones that might be. So
That's a really great suggestion, and I've been interested in those. I hear mixed reviews, but I do think they are like really safe for walking around. I did also put AirPods on my list because I ended up. This is hilarious. I had to buy myself so I bought AirPods back in 2020, and I had to buy myself a new pair of AirPods because as I left an Uber. The case fell out of my lap and got quite literally run over by a car.
Yeah.
So I bought the new like second generation AirPods Pro out of necessity because I'm in too deep. I have to have them now, and I have to say, they have some really cool features. So with the noise cancellation, really great. They also have the transparency mode, which I use when I'm walking around, where you can hear sounds coming in. I try to keep my volume at a reasonable level, and I'll take them out when I cross the street because it'll like automatically pause your music.
Yes, which I love.
I love that. The newest versions, though, are even better because they have a mode called adaptive. So the volume, as you walk around, as you pass things that are a little bit louder, it'll kind of raise and lower the volume to maintain about the same level, which is pretty
Very
cool.
Nice.
They also have like something called conversation awareness, where like if you start talking, it'll automatically lower the volume of your music.
Yeah, it's gotten really advanced.
Right. And I think a really accessible feature of the newest AirPods is that if when you put them in the case and you set them on like a charger or you plug them in, the case now has a little speaker, so it'll ding. It'll give you a little tone to indicate that you plugged it in or it's charging. So that's really nice and accessible.
Very nice. Yeah, I knew we would have some crossover.
Yeah.
On this list. Even though that wasn't really the same thing, so I think we're good still.
Yeah,
but
so.
but yeah. Okay. So am I next then? If you
go
did
for
that,
it. Yep.
Are we good? Okay. My next one. This is very specific. An Ambutech gift card.
Nice.
If such a thing even exists. Or just like money to go to Ambutech products, because so if you don't know, Ambutech has a lot of like mobility aids on there, and they have the white cane as well as cane tips, cane holders. They have all different kind of cane accessories on there. And sometimes even if you don't need a brand new cane, sometimes you might need just a new cane tip or like a cane holder or other things like that. There's like a cane light. There's all kinds of stuff. Or you might just need a new cane. Canes break all the time, and so I think some money towards Ambutech is a good gift that someone might not want to like pay for themselves if they don't need it right away, but
sure,
might be a good gift.
And I think that like to that point, it's helpful if like someone is looking to get a new cane and you don't know what they want or how they would need to order one. So a gift card in this case would actually be really helpful. They also, so there is a company that, this is not on my list, but thinking about it, there is a company that makes like a light up cane, which is actually pretty cool. I saw it at a conference I was at earlier this year. And I don't actually remember the name of it, and I would like to promote them. So I'll have to look it up, and like as we continue this app, and I might just jump in and say the name. But one thing that I have that's very blind specific on my list is might be a little more of a pricier gift and involves some like special fitting. But if you want to get someone who's low vision who's interested in having these, some bioptic lenses.
Oh, that's a great gift.
It would be a really helpful gift. So bioptic lenses, for those who might not be familiar, are Casey and I both have them. They're a pair of glasses with like a monocular mounted on top. So it's basically like a hands-free monocular, and they're super helpful. I mean, so you, in some states, if you're low vision or kind of on that threshold of being legally blind, you can qualify to learn how to drive with them. Case and I have a whole episode of why we don't do that. But like, what do you use your bioptics for?
You can use them at the theater, at a sporting event, at the zoo, anywhere where you might want to be kind of looking at things far away while also being able to look through the bottom. Actually, another really useful place would be at school, which I'm not in school anymore, but if you have a student in your life who might want to use that to try to read the board, I mean, they're definitely helpful for non-drive. I feel like a lot of people just talk about them in the driving way, but they can be helpful for non-drivers too.
Sometimes I forget that they're used for driving because I use my bioptics for literally everything else.
Yeah, just anything else pretty much. Mm-hmm. Love that. That's a great one. Okay, next. Can you guess what my next one is, Cass?
I don't.
And by that I mean it's extremely predictable for me to say.
I think because I think I wrote it down on mine. Is it
what?
A Kindle?
It's a Kindle.
Wow!
A Kindle or a Kindle or just an e-reader of any kind. There are other brands, you know. I don't want to just like be a slave to Amazon all the time, but the reason I do like the Kindle though is it does have a lot of different versions and different options for you there, and you know, the price is not too terrible considering it is a tech item. I saw on Black Friday, the one I have was going for $75.
Nice.
Not bad. Not bad.
Nice.
So I love my Kindle. I use it every single day. Truly, I try to use it every single day. I literally I'm just so grateful it exists. It helps me be able to read in an accessible way. I also love an audiobook, but that's not the point. But I'm just saying it's not the only way I read, but it is a big way that I like to read. And I talk about it all the time, but it really, really is just so easy on the eyes. I find that I can really look at it for a long time, and you can really, really, if you play with the accessibility features, you can make the font and the color and everything perfect for you, and that's the really size cool. And even the margins you can change, and so yeah, it's a great gift. And you know what? I didn't add to the list, but I also will quickly. There is something you can buy for your Kindle where you can just click a button to change the page. So normally you have to tap it to turn the page yourself, but there is a button you can press to turn it. So if you wanted to mount it on a stand, if you don't want to hold it, so that is something I'm interested in getting. I don't have, but I'm really interested in getting that. If you're trying to read in bed, it can be a good option for you to not have to hold it in a weird position. So that's another option. And I know that that's not necessarily usable for all blind people if you don't have enough vision to actually read print, but for low vision people who can read print, it can get really, really big. So yeah, that is a recommendation.
That's perfect. I think, and I'm so glad you mentioned it because I wrote it down kind of thinking of that, and I think if you are a huge reader, it would be really, really helpful that e-ink is really easy on the eyes, easy on the eyes. Also, that cane that I mentioned, it's a startup. It's called the See Me cane, SEE me cane. So perfect. If you are interested in ordering it for pre-order, it is available online. But it is really cool because the entire body of the cane will light up, and that's super safe for walking around at night.
Very nice. Even though you had Kindle on your list, you can still go next.
So
I just talked for a long time.
No, girl, you're so fine because I had Kindle/iPad because you know that I'm an iPad girly.
Love the iPad.
I love the iPad. I use it for so many things. I don't know if a day really goes by that I don't pick it up to do something. I use it to read because I'm not as much of a reader as Case. not that I don't like reading, but I feel like usually I either do audiobooks or I will just read on my iPad. But
yeah,
a lot of the books that I've read lately have been audio. So I don't always have a need for it, but that doesn't mean that it's not a great product. I really love the iPad though, because it's very multifunction. I'm using it right now to FaceTime Case as we record the pod, of course.
Me too.
I love the Notability app too, which I've like already talked about my love for that and how you can import PDFs and write on things, and that's how I will like take my notes for school, and how I've taken my notes for school for I honestly the past 10 years.
Wow.
Since like 2013. I use it for recipes as I'm cooking. I use it to watch TV and play music and so many things. It's just I use it to go online and be able to read things clearly. It's really helpful to have such a big tool, and it's not like a separate, different, like accessibility specific tool, which they have their place. I just love the all-in-oneness of the iPad.
Yes.
And the portability. It's awesome.
Definitely, and I agree with you. I use my iPad quite a lot as well, and I really love it. All right, my next one is another tech thing. This might not be for everyone, but for me, I've really enjoyed having a large monitor. So for many years, I just had a laptop, and it does the job. I use the Zoom feature on it, but in the last few years, I got a large monitor. And it's like one of those monitors that's supposed to have it has good lighting adjustments for the eyes. You can adjust the cool and warm and the settings on it and everything. And it really is great. Being on my laptop for a very long period of time can be hard, and the monitor really takes off a lot of that strain, not only on my eyes, but also on my posture. I don't have to lean as much, and it really has been a game changer, and it's something I wouldn't have really thought about, but I'm really glad that I have it.
Yeah, I love that. I had actually written down something I feel like we do have a lot of similarity, but there's not so much crossover still. So I think this is great. So I had written down a smart TV because a lot of times you can cast things from your device directly to your TV if you want to see it larger. So I find that really useful. I think that, sometimes when people come over and we watch a movie, I can still watch it on my device and they can watch it on the TV. So I can still sit on the couch and hang out with people. I also like having I like having a TV so that I can play video games, honestly, because I don't know how I ever forced myself to play console games from a tiny portable screen. Girl, that hurt my eyes so much.
Same here as a kid. Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll connect my Switch to the TV, and it's kind of the only way I play the Switch. Which kind of defeats the purpose of the Switch, but the resolution is super clear, and I pull up my little ottoman and I just sit in front of the TV. It's perfect.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. No, I think that's a great option if any of you are gamers, especially, which I'm not as much of. I used to be more as a younger person. Not for any reason. I would like to get back into it eventually. Okay, my next one. This is so silly. It's so silly. But somebody in your life who's low vision, they might like a blind doll.
I love that though.
So I kind of have a little bit of a collection of blind dolls at this point, not really on purpose. I've just gotten them at either auctions or gifted to me or whatever. But as a little kid, we never saw ourselves represented. We never had blind dolls. We just didn't have that. And now lately, a few brands have come out with different blind dolls. Target a few years ago came out with a doll that's kind of more like a baby doll, like American Girl style. It's not a Barbie, but it's like a larger, kind of the size of an American Girl, but it has a pink cane and a guide dog. And it's just fun to have. And
I have that doll too.
Yeah, it's fun to have because we didn't have it as kids, but it's fun to see that exists now. Mm-hmm. And I have a few others. I have like a Helen Keller Barbie.
That's
and
awesome.
It's cool though because on the box it has Braille on the back, and so it's just like a
cool.
They're kind of like cool collectibles, you know.
Yeah, so my parents got me. This was like, it had to be like custom made, so you can find a lot of these things if they don't already exist in the mainstream. You can find a lot of things like this on Etsy. My mom got me a baby doll that has an ostomy bag, which is so cute. So you can like change its little ostomy bag. It has like 2 different ones, and like it has a little stoma for those that are newer. I got my colon removed over 8 years ago because of like complications with Hermansky-Pudlak syndrome, having a bleeding disorder and bowel disease. It just didn't make a good combination. So I've had like a permanent ileostomy for a long time now, and it feels good to see like a doll with the device that you also use on the daily. It's just so cool.
I love that so much. It's so good.
Yes, I love all of these things. My gosh, this is such a fun list. I really like this idea.
It's so fun.
Okay. So one thing, since earlier we were talking about walking around safely, and something that I got for myself this year, a lot of the reason was on result of having been hit by a car last year. I bought myself these, like, they're lights for people who are, you know, cycling, walking, running in the dark, either early in the morning, late at night when it's dark outside. I mean, frankly, here it's already dark outside at like 4:30. So, they're called Nox Gear is the brand, Nox Gear. And they're fantastic. So they have like, they're really like unobtrusive too, because usually if you want like a safety vest, a lot of times it kind of takes up the entire, it's like the size of a vest, and it's just neon green with like reflective strips. But this is awesome because it actually produces light. And it has lots of different light cycles. It's really awesome because like the lights are just like really thin tubes that kind of go on like a vest, but it's not in the way. So it's really good if you are someone who is like running, especially because it doesn't get in your way. It has like, it clips around your belt, and that part has kind of that like neon / reflective bits to it. But, you know, they have some cool add-ons. They have like a little like headlamp type add-on that you can just attach to the buckle, and you can, I don't know, produce more light even. And they have one for dogs. So I got one for my guide dog Romana, and she will wear it when we're walking at night too. So we're both very visible because she's obviously lower to the ground, and people might not see her even if they see me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So they've really been a game changer for me. Especially because I do like walking around when it's darker out, because it's not as bright for my eyes. I feel like they're not in pain, but you want to be safe.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good one. See, I hope we're helping somebody get some ideas. So the next one I'll do is like a chronic illness one, more so than the blind one. But I am a big fan of the hot water bottle.
Ooh.
And I think it's just a fun gift to give someone. You know, not necessarily a chronically ill person. Anybody can enjoy it. But if you have like chronic pain or that kind of thing, I think that like, I've always heard that like wet heat is better than like dry heat or whatever. So, you know, you pour boiling water in this bag. Be very careful. Have someone assist you.
Have you hurt yourself before?
No, I have not.
Thank goodness.
But have someone assist you if you need to. But you know, you fill up your hot water bottle, and it's just very cozy. Sometimes when I'm at my work desk, I'll just sit with it in my lap. And I just think it's like a kind of a unique gift or a good gift for people.
That's awesome.
But especially, yeah.
I love that. So one thing that I also have that it is pretty specifically related to blindness, but also could be really helpful for chronically ill folks or basically anybody. I'm shocked that you haven't said this already.
Okay.
Get you a Roomba.
Oh, I don't even have that on my list.
How could you?
How? It's literally my favorite thing besides the Kindle that I own.
It's such a game changer for literally anybody, but especially like sweeping is really hard if you have like chronic pain. And you know, when you're blind or legally blind, it is really hard to tell if things are clean or not, honestly.
Yeah.
And having something that will just kind of go automatically on a schedule, and you pretty much know that your floors are getting taken care of for the most part, is such a help. Like such a help. Especially,
that's a brilliant one. I can't believe I didn't put it.
Wow, I'm disappointed. No, especially if you have a guide dog that sheds, though. I mean,
yeah, but like even if you don't, like she said, like it's so hard. I used to have to get low to the ground while sweeping to like see like what I was doing. And I'm like, that's not good.
That is painful.
So, yeah, painful. And also, like, you're almost, like, too close to the dust and stuff. Like, you don't need to be, like, right at the ground level with it. Yeah. So, yeah, Roomba, seriously, if you're able to get this for someone or yourself, and if you are a blind person, especially if you live alone or you don't have someone else who's able to do the sweeping or the vacuuming or whatever, like, it really is great.
Yeah, and they last quite a long time. I've had my Roomba for 4 years.
Yeah,
and
I've had mine a few years. You have to replace the parts.
Yeah,
like replace the filters or whatever, just like you would for any vacuum. But
right,
it's great.
Yeah.
I agree with that one. I love that one. My next one, I'll be surprised if you don't have this on your list. An Uber gift card.
I have that.
Okay. I thought you might, because these exist. Gift card for Uber or Lyft or your rideshare of choice. I've gotten these gifted to me before. Another actually one, sorry to just go completely off topic, but another one that came into my mind too just now is gifting someone like a grocery delivery service.
I had that too. I had
so sorry.
Lyft/Instacart gift card.
Okay, so it does feel like it's a together
thing. It's like delivery / transportation, I guess.
Yes. My sister and brother-in-law, when I moved back to Memphis, they gifted me a year of grocery delivery, which I use Shipped. But yeah, Instacart is another one. But yeah, like if you can give somebody that or just an Uber gift card for any amount, really. I mean, those are just so great.
Yeah, and I like to really plug Instacart. They are not sponsoring, and we are not sponsored by anyone in any way. So anything that we say is very much ours. So to plug Instacart though, like, okay, I've used Instacart for quite some time, for at least 5 years, like even pre-pandemic. And they're great, and they've expanded greatly, at least in the area that I live. So I pay for like the monthly membership, which is like $10 a month. And it sounds like it might be a little bit, but it means that you can you can waive the delivery fee for orders over usually $35, which is easily like how much that you could pay for groceries. Now, something that's happened lately that I've noticed, at least in the past year or so, is that there are some grocery stores that have come on board that have options. They're usually called like Delivery Now or Express, or there's one for like a natural grocery store near me that they call Real Convenience, and they will send you orders over $10 with free delivery. So girl, you don't understand how often I use this feature, because I was baking at my parents' house. I was making this apple tart, and the apples I had brought with me, like they weren't bad, but they weren't what I needed for that moment. And I was picky, and I was like, this is not, I'm not going to just settle for this. So I Instacarted myself some apples at like 10 p.m. and they got to my parents' house in 20 minutes.
That's incredible.
That is faster than it would take you to go to the store, even if you had a car.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It is so helpful,
Phenomenal.
and I use this so frequently that I don't know how to exist without it. So I really, really love Instacart, and if you want to gift that to someone in your life, maybe just a busy person, but if you've got someone who can't drive, such a game changer.
Such a game. Oh my gosh, it's such a game changer. And sometimes I'll still go to the physical grocery store for that experience. But oh my gosh, just having grocery delivery is so good.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's incredible.
The next one is getting somebody a Braille card.
Oh, that's so nice.
Like a Christmas holiday card that has Braille on it. If the person is a Braille user, like they read Braille, that's obviously a really, really great option because they feel included, that they're able to read that. But even if they're like low vision and they just know Braille, or that would still be special. So even if the person can read print, they might still enjoy a Braille card. I don't know. I thought that's a good option to gift someone this holiday season. You can find those. They have them at like Target actually, but I'm sure you can find good ones on Etsy. Yeah. One time I saw one at Target though, and legitimately the Braille was wrong.
I'm sure.
It was wrong. So
positive.
You might want someone to check that. But on Etsy they might have good options too, or something like that.
I love that. It actually reminds me of something I saw on Molly Burke's Insta story, like I think yesterday. Like I think someone had gotten her like an audio recording of a card, which is really cool. It's like the cards that play sound, but with like a personal voice. So it's still like you received a card, but with that personal touch, which I think is really sweet.
I saw that. I love that.
That's so cool. Okay, so something
take a shot every time we mention Molly Burke. I feel like every episode one of us is like, if you know Molly Burke.
Yeah. Molly Burke and Doc Martens and Kindles.
And Kindles. Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of things that just come up.
There are recurring themes here.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, so something I've talked about before is if you have a blind or low vision person who wants to try to get into baking or learn more about being in the kitchen, y'all know I love to bake. So I have a talking kitchen scale, and it is probably the tool I use the most. Now, it's getting a little wonky because I've had it for some time and I need to recalibrate it, but like it is really great to have a talking scale. And I've found that it's helpful in a lot of situations where like the display is also really big if you don't want the talking aspect, but it will read in English and metric, so like ounces and grams, and sometimes both of your hands are full, and you might have a bowl that's pretty big on top of it that's blocking the display. So the fact that it'll read out to you is generally really helpful. So I got mine on Amazon. And I'm trying to remember the brand. I think it's probably one of the first things that comes up with talking scale. I will probably actually do show notes for this episode to try to include what we talk about. So if you want to refer back to it. But I'll probably link it in the show notes for those that are interested. I use it, I gotta say, probably daily, but I also bake a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I believe it for you when you say daily. She's not kidding.
Yeah, I also use it to weigh out coffee because I'm kind of a coffee snob. So if you want to pull like a shot of espresso, you can weigh out your coffee, and I find that really helpful because I don't know how much to put in there otherwise.
That's a good one. My next one is give a donation to a nonprofit that matters to this person. Did you put that?
No, but I was supposed to say give a donation to the Hermansky-Podlack Syndrome Network to support your favorite podcast.
So whether it's the Hermansky-Podlack Syndrome Network, NOAA, Guide Dogs for the Blind, all the ones we mentioned, any kind of nonprofit that is there to be a community or a helpful resource for blind and low vision or chronically ill or whatever illness you might have or whatever eye condition you might have, this is such a meaningful gift. If somebody gives a donation in your name, I mean, these organizations mean a lot to us, and they're small nonprofits. Like, they need the help they can get. And so, like, that's a really, really nice gift to give someone, I think.
One time someone gifted me like a $100 donation to GDB, the Guide Dogs for the Blind, and it was so meaningful because I was like,
That's
wow,
so meaningful, yeah.
You know, they do such important work, and especially if, you know, I think it's even more meaningful if this person is involved, but even if they're not, just knowing that, you know, your funds are helping others like them is really touching. So I love that.
I agree.
So I have something that it's like for around the home, and I have a story that isn't mine. So I'm borrowing this from someone in the albinism community, but, so she had said that when she was 12, the thing that she asked her parents for her birthday was a dimmer switch in her bedroom. And I loved that. And I think that's so important. It's for people with various eye conditions. Some people need much more light, and for Case and I, like, we're really like light sensitive. So I have a lot of, like, I'm a lamp girl, so I usually have small lights around my house.
I don't want to cut you off, but I literally have this on my list.
I'm so glad. Yay.
I do.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I like a lamp, a dimmer. I have a dimmer in my dining room that I use a lot. I really like being able to make it really nice and bright for if people like are coming over. But if I'm just sitting in my house by myself, I can crank it down and it's not going to bother me. Or like fairy lights that are cute for your room, that are a nice source of low light. I love that.
Yeah. I have this. I have lights on my list, and what I was going to say with that is, like, yeah, lots of lamps or just all the things you said, so you don't always have to have the big light on in the room. I don't know if you've seen that Instagram sound that
No,
comes on all the
I
time.
love that.
This girl goes, never, ever, ever turn on the big light.
Yeah.
And
I'm so not a big light girl, and my mom is, and every time I visit, she's always like, she's like, giant one, like, no!
And this is why Christmas time is so fun for me, because my tree is just such a lovely light source where I can turn off the main lights and still have a good light in there. And I love those, like, Himalayan salt lamps.
Oh, I love the salt lamps.
I love lights that kind of look warm and like a pretty hue, like, you know, and you can get creative with it. And I definitely had that on my list. So
I love that we had that crossover.
Same brain. Mm-hmm.
Same brain. Well, in that case, wait, do I go again? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I think the last thing I have on my list for, like, things that are more physical objects, and it kind of lends itself well into the next things I have, which are more like non-physical, but this might not be for everybody, but for people who are blind and low vision, obviously, you know, there's always that debate of like, oh, your other senses compensate, which isn't necessarily true. We just pay more attention to them. And on that note, I think that it is really fun to gift someone a fragrance. But I think what's even more fun, and I've done this with like people I've dated, actually. We go to Sephora. And we, like, talk to someone that works there, and like, they kind of help orient you to find a scent that, you know, you like, that speaks to you, that smells nice on you. And so it's kind of an experience in a way that you can try stuff out if you don't really know what your vibe is. But it feels nice to smell good, and I think that I really like that. You know, I'm Hispanic, so a lot of us wear a lot of perfume anyway, but like I really like smelling good, and it feels fun, and it's a way to kind of elevate your presence and leave more of an impression that isn't visual. It's like, it's sensory.
And despite not dating me, we have done this together.
I love taking people to the fragrance section.
That was so fun. We went to Sephora. We were at the fragrances for like a good 30 minutes, if not longer.
We were just smelling things.
I love a fragrance too. And yeah, I agree with you though, like helping someone pick it out, because I think like just choosing one for someone might, you know, you gotta you got to get their input too if it's if it's their vibe. But if you go with them and like kind of help them out, or if you have a lot of knowledge on the good brands or whatever, or you know what they might like and the notes they might like, I think that's a great gift. And I think I don't know if I want to say we care more about that than sighted people, but I do think we pay attention to those things a little more. So I totally get that. I love a good fragrance.
Love.
Okay, next. This could be for blind or chronically ill or anxiety, but I love fidget toys. I'm a huge fan of a fidget toy. Take a shot. Molly Burke recently made a video about fidget toys.
Oh, I love that.
and like sensory and stuff like that. And yeah, sometimes blind people, we need some sensory input, or, you know, or just like if you have anxiety, you know, I pick my fingernails, not because I'm blind necessarily, but I have a lot of different fidget toys. My sister just got me the coolest one ever for my birthday. Ooh. And it's like a square, and it opens up and it can go in like hundreds of different directions, and it's really cool. Oh, but I have a ton of different ones, and I just, you know, sit on the couch and play with my fidget toy while I'm watching a movie or whatever. So I think that's a great gift.
I love that. I've seen like ads for these things that I've thought about getting for myself, because I think a lot of blind and low vision people were very like tactile oriented, and so I love touching things. And so one thing I've seen that sounds awesome is like those calm strips that have different textures that you can rub. And
I don't know what that is, but okay.
The moment I say it, you're gonna get ads for it now. So
it sounds like something I would love.
It's like a sticker that you can put it anywhere. You can put it on the back of your phone, on your computer, on your laptop, and just like kind of trace around a little pattern. And it's felty.
Gosh. My gosh. I had a blanket as a child, as a lot of kids do. A lot of kids have a blankie or a blanket they love. But my blanket had all these different like sensory parts to it. Like the corner was like scratchy, and then that's why I liked my blanket, is I would rub certain parts. I've always been into like tactile stuff like that. I
love sensory things.
Yeah, me too. I love that. Even the Squishmallow that Cass got me in my lap at the moment is so soft at the top, and I just pet her. I just pet her head.
When I got her, I was petting her for like a while. It's very like sensory stimming.
I love it. Yep.
Okay, something that I have that is non-physical is, so actually this idea came from someone who had posted in like a Facebook group that I was talking to my mom about, and it wasn't even in like a blindness Facebook group. It was like a mutual friend of ours. But if you have like low vision, or if you're blind and you are at all interested in learning how to do your makeup but don't know where to begin, Sephora has beauty lessons that you can pay for, like a class. It's basically like paying for a class for someone to go and kind of learn about makeup and how, like, some methods to apply it. And I think that could be like a really nice lower barrier to entry if like makeup feels really intimidating. Casey and I both really like makeup. And I think we did pick up some of it on our own, but I think like it's really helpful to learn from other people in person, especially like feel how someone is doing it on you, so then you can try to like repeat that same feeling on your face.
Right, because you can watch a YouTube video, but if you can't see it well, how are you gonna... Yeah, it would be nice. Like, and because when we were growing up, like, YouTube wasn't a thing when I was learning makeup. And so, like, I did have people actually actively, like, touch my face or, you know, and so I think that, yeah, that's a great one. I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah, I was like just looking into it yesterday because my mom was like, someone is asking about how to do makeup. Do you know how, like... And the Clinique counter doesn't exist anymore, you know? So, like, at least there are some options where you can, like, have a professional kind of guide you.
Yeah, love that. That's a great one. So this is another one that's more like chronic illness girlies or boys. Chronic illness peeps. Something we talk about a lot, but it's actually good for your health. are plants.
Yay!
You could gift someone a plant. You could either buy it from the store, or if you have plants, you can propagate a cutting for them. But plants are really good for your oxygen level and just like cleaning the air and making your air fresher in your house. And that's good for illness, and also just like kind of making you a little more in touch with nature. If you have to be indoors a lot, if you are sick and you have to be indoors a lot, it's good to like make you feel more in touch with nature if you're not able to really go out.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people bring flowers or plants to hospital rooms. I mean, it also just like brightens up the space visually too.
Does.
And so I think that's a great gift to give somebody.
I think so too.
To give anybody, really.
And especially if you're feeling like super fatigued and there are very few things that you can expend your spoons, your energy on. Watering a plant doesn't take that many spoons. Go into the sink, fill up a cup, and dump it in your plant. Pretty easy to do. So it could be, and it's good for your mental health. I love that.
Unless you have 20.
Well, yeah.
So don't do that. Don't be us. Because I agree with you completely.
If you have one plant.
If you have one or two, but for me, it truly is like a 30-minute process. It's an event. It is an event to water the plants, especially because a lot of mine are hanging. So I'm like on a chair, it's like, it's a whole thing. But I do agree with what you're saying. That,
I mean, before I amassed many plants, I had one pothos. And I think that's such a good starter plant and generally isn't super, super needy. So could be nice, not super energy intensive. Don't be us.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
One thing that is also not physical is paying for a house cleaning service.
Oh, that's a good one.
You guys, I just got my house deep cleaned for the first time, like professionally, and I gotta say, it was remarkable. Like, it was amazing. It was awkward because I was there while it was being done because I was working remotely, so that was a little. I felt kind of like I don't know, that feeling when you're getting a pedicure, if that's relatable to some people, where like you're like, oh my gosh, thank you, this feels great, but also I'm really sorry that you have to see this. My house wasn't a total disaster, but there were just it was a deep clean, so there are areas that like are behind stuff that I don't clean those things.
Yeah, right.
I don't clean the blinds. I don't, these are very intensive things.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt amazing to have that done, and like the feeling of walking into like a super clean house that smells amazing, like, oh wow. And especially if that's a really helpful chronically ill thing too, is like sometimes you just can't. It takes a lot of effort and energy to clean your house or your apartment.
Chronically ill, and like we said earlier with the Roomba, like even if you can't see those hard to get areas too, like every once in a while, it doesn't have to be that often, but every once in a while, if you can just get a deep clean. I don't have a cleaning service like come on a schedule, but I've done a deep clean like once every 6 months or even once a year. It's really a helpful restart.
Like the baseboards, and like I have spider webs in my house that I obviously can't see, and like my mom will come over, she's like, you have a spider web up in that very tall ceiling, and I'm like, okay, but like they took care of that.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
And even like your ceiling fans.
Oh yeah,
all of that. Yeah, that's
so
true.
Nice.
Next, if you're buying a gift for someone with albinism specifically, but really a lot of low vision people could use this. A nice pair of sunglasses.
I was thinking of that.
We love sunglasses. A lot of low vision people have light sensitivity or need sunglasses for another reason, if they want to maybe cover their eyes or for whatever reason. But sunglasses are great. And
any brand recommendations?
I mean, I love Goodr. I've talked about them before. Goodr. And they can be a little inappropriate, like the names, so just don't let that scare you. Like, they're weird. the names of each pair. Like each pair has a name, and like it's written really tiny inside the glasses, but no one will ever see that. And the reason I love them, they are extremely lightweight, but they also stay on your face, and they're cute too. And they have, yeah, I've been gifted those before, and it's always a joy. And actually, my very favorite pair of Gooders broke at the beach this year, and it's not
the white
because
ones that are blue.
No, I still have those.
Oh, okay.
They were like tortoise shell brown, and they were my favorite because they were really dark, like lenses. And the reason they broke, it's not because they're bad quality. I literally like sat on them and smashed. Like I didn't realize they were there. I was getting in the car and they were in the seat, and I just like completely crushed them. So yeah. Anyway,
that's tragic.
I love those, and so yeah, sunglasses of any kind, really.
I love that. That's a really good recommendation. Yeah, and anything like polarized especially, I think that is going to help reduce the light that enters even more. They're the kind of lenses, if you're not familiar, that like people will use to like ski because the reflection of the light on the snow is just so bright. So any kind of polarized lens is going to be really helpful. I've gotten some from like even, Zenni online that, non-prescription, but you can get them polarized and they come in cute, fun shapes. So pretty much anywhere you can get suns is helpful.
Yeah, and I think that was actually the last thing on my list.
Okay, yeah, because I have one more thing that is helpful for any dog person in your life, but especially someone who has a guide dog and cannot go somewhere. A mobile dog grooming appointment. Having someone like drive to your house and then right there give your dog a nice groom, and then you don't have to spend money on transportation or try to find someone who will take you somewhere so that you can drop your dog off and then go pick it up. I have wanted to do this for some time actually, and I haven't been able to work out the scheduling, but the fact that I know it exists and that I could do it, and I probably will do it, probably sometime in the new year. But I just think it's really amazing that those things exist, and it's just it's a great example of one of those things that benefits like such a wide range of people, but people with disabilities especially, kind of like Instacart, where it's like, anybody who's busy and can't get to the grocery store would benefit from this, but especially if you can't drive.
Yeah, definitely. And not to like bring down the mood, but I think a mobile grooming would be actually really great right now too with the mystery dog illness.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's probably like better, less exposure for your pet too.
That's so
not
true.
Not that I'm an expert, but no, yeah, like that's I haven't used that for my dog, but my parents have used those for their dogs. Like when I was growing up, we had them come, and it was funny. Like
it's so
it was cool.
I love it. Yeah. Well, especially if you have like a really senior dog who can't really get in the car.
Yes,
that is really helpful.
We did it just because we had so many. We had 3 dogs, so they would go all in together, and we would just get it done in one swoop. Yeah, it was hard to get 3 dogs in the car and all that.
Yeah,
probably too many dogs for one family to have, but we for those people. So
I love that. Oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed our little list, plus all the extras that we threw in between.
Yeah, no, that was so fun. And honestly, I would be overjoyed to get any of these things. So I really think I really truly think if you have a blind person in your life, or if you are one, we hope, I know some of these things are more pricey, but some of them are also pretty reasonable. So it really depends on like a pair what you're looking at. Yeah, well, the Gooder Sons too are reasonably priced, in my opinion, for what they are. So, yeah, no, it was very fun talking about this with you, and
I love this.
I had a great time, and we hope you all have such a good holiday season and a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Well, we'll be back. We'll be back in 2 weeks,
but we're preemptively wishing you Happy Christmas, Merry New Year, whatever. Yep.
You sound very British to say Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Don't they say Happy Christmas?
They do, right?
Let us know if you're British. But anyway, thank you so much for listening.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.